Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most exciting, chaotic, and, ultimately rewarding challenges a writer can take on. National Novel Writing Month. It's a total sprint, not a marathon, and by the end of this, you're going to have all the tools you need to not just survive it, but to actually win.
I mean, it's a pretty common dream, isn't it? That feeling that you've got a story bottled up inside you, a whole world just waiting to get out on the page. But for so many of us, that's kind of where it stays, just a dream. Mostly because the thought of starting, let alone finishing, feels absolutely huge.
But what if? What if there was a way to just shut down that internal editor and just write? Well, that is exactly what National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo as we call it, is all about. It's this amazing global thing that gives you the structure, the community, and the deadline you need to finally get that story out of your head. So, what does this whole dare actually involve? Let's break down the numbers, because really, NaNoWriMo is a game of creative endurance. It's all measured in words and days, and trust me, the first number is a big one. Yep, this is the finish line, 50,000 words. Now, to put that into perspective for you, a novel is usually considered a work of 50,000 words or more. So the goal here is to have a complete book-length project by the end of the month. And here is the secret sauce that makes it all happen. You only have 30 days to do it. The entire month of November is just a super focused sprint. It's not a lazy jog in the park. Think of it more like a high-intensity creative workout. And when you break it down, that massive 50,000 words becomes 1,667 words per day. And just like that huge mountain suddenly looks a lot more like a series of smaller, manageable daily hikes, right? This simple math really shows you what it's all about. Consistency. Okay, and this slide? This is the heart and soul of the NaNoWriMo philosophy. The goal is not to write a perfect novel. No way. It's to write a finished one. This means you have to tell your inner editor to take a vacation. You have to embrace the mess, and you just have to get that story out. After all, you can't edit a blank page. It sounds pretty exciting, I know, but is this crazy high-speed challenge actually right for you? It's a huge commitment, so let's get real for a second and take a clear look at the trade-offs involved. So, on the one hand, you've got the incredible power of a hard deadline to kick procrastination to the curb. You finally learn to silence that nagging inner critic, and you get to join this massive, super supportive global community. But on the other hand, the draft you end up with? It's going to be rough. The time crunch is intense, especially with holidays popping up, and burnout is a very, very real thing. It's a trade-off for sure, and only you can decide if it's one you're willing to make. Okay, so let's say you've weighed the options and you've decided, you know what, the reward is worth the risk. The next step is to arm yourself for success. And the most powerful weapon you're going to have isn't some fancy app or a perfect outline, it's clarity. And that's where we get to finding your story's point. This question from book coach Heather Garbo is just so powerful. It forces you to think beyond just the plot and characters and get to the absolute heart of what you're trying to say. Are you arguing that love conquers all? Or maybe that power always, inevitably, corrupts? This right here is the foundation of what we call your story point. Think of your story point as your North Star. It's the core message, the theme, that keeps your entire story together and makes sure it's actually going somewhere. Knowing this before you even start can save you from writing thousands and thousands of words that feel aimless and just end up getting cut later. All right, you've got your story point. You're ready. Now, how do you actually get through the month? Let's build your tactical toolkit for this 30-day sprint. First up, a really fundamental choice of tools. Now, most of us automatically reach for a keyboard, but there's a really compelling case to be made for going old school and writing your draft longhand. See, writing with a pen completely gets rid of the temptation of the internet. The actual physical act of writing can help break writer's block by using different parts of your brain. The slower pace gives you more time to think, to really choose the right word. And weirdly enough, having a messy, handwritten draft makes it easier to just move forward without trying to perfect every single sentence. Plus, hey, if it's good enough for J.K. Rowling, it's definitely worth considering, right? Your mindset is every bit as important as your word count. You have to actively tell that inner critic to go take a hike. Find inspiration anywhere you can: books, movies, motivational quotes. And definitely connect with other writers for accountability. That shared struggle is a huge motivator. And most importantly, you have to reframe your thinking. Every single word you write down is a success. Period.
Now let's talk practical habits. Try to write at the same time and in the same place every day to build that routine. Reward yourself. When you hit your daily goals, give yourself a little treat. And if you have a great day and the words are just flowing, don't stop at your target. Bank those extra words for a tougher day down the road. And the biggest rule of all, do not go back and edit. November is for creating, not correcting. So you make it. It's November 30th. You are exhausted, you have 50,000 words, and they are a complete and total mess. What does that mean? It means you succeeded, because a messy first draft is the entire point. This is the absolute best way to look at it. You didn't fail to write a perfect book. You succeeded in creating the raw material. In November, you're just gathering the clay. For the rest of the year, you can take your time sculpting it into a statue. The hard part is over. And hey, don't you ever think a messy first draft can't become something incredible? Just look at this list. The Night Circus, Water for Elephants, Fame Girl. These are some seriously beloved best-selling novels that all started their lives as these chaotic, breakneck NaNoWriMo projects. This is all the proof you need that this process actually works. So the challenge is set. The whole community is out there waiting. And that story that's been living in your head, it finally has a deadline. So the only real question left is, are you ready to write it?